Welcome to Blended Philosophy. As it is just the two of us this evening, a couple of things. First of all, this episode of Blended Philosophy is worth 100 whiskey points.
Oh, no.
Congratulations, Noah.
How many whiskey points to it? Is it 1,000 to a carrot point?
1,000 to a milk. And then, yeah.
Oh.
And
a milk point equal carrot points?
Yeah, 1,000 milk points to a
Oh,
carrot.
okay. So it's like 0.1 cents. It's like 0.01. Carrot points? No. No.
So, because just the two of us, it's going to be a little different. Apologies for not giving you time to prepare.
It's alright.
I only found that today.
No.
So what's going to happen is the topic is labour, and we're trying to find out what's the best pattern of work. So essentially, you're going to provide me with your answer, and I'm just gonna push back. And every argument you have, we're gonna try and counter argue.
Okay.
Let's see if your theory comes through to the other side. So the secondary question here is the outcome. Hang on. What is the best pattern of work? Okay. So the secondary question is the best pattern of work 8 hours per day?
Without actually thinking about it, I'm just thinking about how they came up with it. You'd think it wouldn't be. So I don't think they did any studies when they came up with 8 hours. I feel like someone pulled that out and was like, this is roughly 8 hours of daylight.
Why would they do?
Because a lot of people, they don't make decisions based on scientific things. They'll just be like, the 8 hour workday's been around for ages. They were just like, that just sounds like a reasonable amount of time to work. And then they would have just like, it would have just become a thing.
Why would they arbitrarily pick?
Because they do that
8
to stuff
hours?
all the time. So many things they just
Give me one
arbitrarily...
other example of an arbitrary.
Here's an example
Right.
that I learned at uni. If like a habitat is like pristine and people like, let's say it's like some really cool rocks in a certain place or shells, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we don't want people to take shells. So what will we do? We'll put a sign up that says, don't take shells from this beach. And guess what happens? More people take shells. Because it puts the idea in their head. And they're just like, we'll just tell them not to, and they'll just pull that up. Whereas, and if you actually do like studies on it, you'll say, no, that makes the problem worse. What you should do is say, help keep this beach pristine, or something like that. Even something vague.
Okay. Fair.
People might have thought, well, it's roughly 8 hours in a day, and you know, I get tired when I work more than 8 hours. And how can you get enough done? No.
There's not roughly 8 hours in a day.
Well, I'd say on average in like the northern hemisphere, in terms of hours of daylight, like there'd be lots of places where, say in like Europe or something, where it gets light at 9. Okay, it wouldn't be an average of 8, but if it gets light at like 9 in winter, it gets light at 9, gets dark at like 4. That's like 7 hours of daylight. And then you got to give them. That's probably Daylight's not really a good example, but I could see someone just being like, oh, you know, 8 sort of works for me. People get tired after that. You know, how can you get much done in less than 8 hours? Let's just make it 8, and that just slowly happened. And then without actually, or like, okay, another one, homework. So Northern European countries don't give kids homework, right?
Right.
And you'd think, right, kids who spend more time studying will do better in school, yeah? So you've got places like England and the US and Australia where you get lots of homework, and in like, you know, your later years of high school, you're looking at like 3 hours a night. if you're doing lots of academic subjects.
I feel like that'd be a waste of our time.
Yeah. So how they got to it, yeah, but and then I don't know. I've never really followed because that stuff's kind of.
How are you defining work?
That's a good point. But I'm going to turn around on you. How do you define work?
Well, that's just lazy. No. Let's just say.
Let's just say.
That's how you make money.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, if that's the definition.
What happens when you go to the gym?
Well, so that also you work out. Is what you're saying?
Yeah.
It depends, and that maybe how you define it. Would you? It could also be things you have to do in your life that you could define as work, like doing your taxes. But you have to do it. It's not fun, like life admin, stuff like that, or chores. Like you don't call chores work, but you still sort of have to do them. Like cleaning your clothes and stuff. Even cooking your cooking would be fun.
Right, let's define it because it seems to be important. I'll throw something out to you, and then if you can find flaws in it, we can define it a little better. So I want to say physical effort to produce a long-term goal. So if you're
Not mental,
not mental, I think for
just physical. Okay.
for the purposes of this question, it doesn't have to require any amount of thought,
Yep. Alright.
and you can solve a math problem that doesn't count.
Okay.
But if you're filling up a cup of water, that's not instant, but it's more or less like an immediate goal.
Yep.
But if you're building a skyscraper, that's. And if you have to balance the books or whatever it's called, you're still physically moving the mouse, so I'm counting that.
Okay. The desk work would still be work.
Yeah.
Okay. Eight hours.
Is that reasonable?
Yeah, okay, we'll take that definition.
8 hours is the best. Because in a lot of cases,
The best pattern of work, or the best way to do something, is the best way to do it because everyone else is doing it that way. And to do it a different way, even if it was more efficient, if everyone else was doing it that way, isn't better than doing it differently to everyone else. So let's say it was 9 hours a day,
Yeah.
and you go on site for 8 hours a day, then they shut the site, even if it's 9 hours a day, you have to jump the fence and go in on site and keep working in the dark or something for that extra hour. It's not as good as working for those 8, even if it was better for everyone to work for those 9.
I see what you're saying, but that's under the current system we can kind of assume that would be objectively true.
so
But
okay.
if we get everyone on
we
board,
got everyone on board.
then
Okay.
we would change the system and
I wonder how we'd know if 8 hours was the best system. Would you have to make everyone work? Or should we just say, when we're talking about people working, should we just say 18 to 65?
but never mind your own prerogative. If you're physically able
Okay.
to work, then I think you can fit into that demographic.
Yep.
So no, legally in Western Australia, the minimum work, age is 14 and 9 months. But
Yeah.
if you're fit and healthy, you probably work,
Yeah.
I don't know, 8 or what?
Yeah. Or you just go to like, you know, go to a family business, or if you go somewhere like out of town, like if you go into like a fish and chip shop in anywhere that's not Perth, there'll be like a 9-year-old or 10-year-old at the counter.
Oh shit.
And like they don't mind, like whatever, they're probably still getting like, you know, alright. But yeah, and then, you know, they're able to work. Like, because when I'm saying it's probably not 8 hours, I don't actually have a time I think it would be. So like
Right.
between like 3 and 11 hours, I'm not actually sure where it would be. So like just statistically, if you were to say 8 hours, I'm saying no, it's probably not 8 hours. You know, just because I've got this big range. I've got an 8-hour range between 3 and 11 hours of what I think, maybe even 3 and 12 hours of what I think the most productive way to work is. I'd say 2 to 12. Yeah. Now I've just expanded it even more. So somewhere between 2 and 12 hours is the best amount of hours to work in a day.
Okay.
And so
yeah,
I'm
sorry.
going, yeah. Okay, so then you go before
At the risk of helping you out, do you want to go through some of the alternatives that I've thought of?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So we don't have to tackle these today, but just to give you an idea of where I'm at.
Okay.
So yeah, another one was 2,000 hours per year.
Okay.
So you can spread that out however you like.
Yep.
100% on, 100% off. Oh good, I left myself notes. Work until you fall asleep. Oh, work until you fall asleep and then rest until you're good to go.
Okay.
1 year per employee, which it's. So I wrote that down before we defined what work was. I don't think it necessarily works anymore. And then I've just written here 2 on, 3 off.
Okay, no, these do actually help. So, 2 days, 3 weeks.
Yeah, so if you keep that ratio, so it'd be 2
2 weeks on, 3 weeks.
7-day weeks, and then 3.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So, if it's an absolute truth, then the fact that 8 hours a day isn't the best pattern for FIFO,
Yeah.
would that mean it's not the best pattern of work? Because it's not always the best pattern of work. For FIFO, it's really impractical to work 8 hours a day. Because else they would have, else that's what they would do. So 8 hours a day is not the best pattern of work for FIFO jobs.
But if 8 hours per day was the best pattern of work,
yeah,
that would demote things like FIFO. So they would go, oh well, we want the most out of our workers, but it doesn't make sense to fly them in and out. So we've got to somehow incentivize them to live near to the mining camp or whatever.
Okay, so that's the best pattern of work. They would go, right, we're going to put a whole bunch more money into our mining town, and they'll all come up here and live and work 8 hours a day. Okay. But so, yeah, they've probably decided that it's harder to do that than to fly them.
Well, it's really easy to incentivize people to fly in and out for lots of money.
yeah,
The novelty of it has died down altogether. But just to go like balls to the wall for 2 weeks or whatever it is, and you get, I don't know what the rate is, but
yeah, it's good.
I've heard it's a lot.
Yeah, you know,
And then
struggle to find a job for less than like 80k.
Right.
You know, like no qualification. So, pretty sure like apprentices get like 80k.
And then to fly back to essentially get like 3 weeks of holiday.
3 weeks off, yeah.
Like yeah. It's easy to incentivize people like that. So, well, perhaps that was an arbitrary decision they made.
Yeah.
I get the suspicion that they thought it through.
Yeah, and I think the amount of money they pour into it, they would actually, which is funny that some companies do this and governments sometimes don't, is they'd be like, what's the best way? Like, they'd have like, you know, organisational psychologists and HR people like poring over numbers and things and being like, how can we get people to come and work for us? Get like good people to come and work for us. And they'd put all like this money into it, and they'd know like, you know, the best patterns or the best sort of shifts and things. Like, but then...
Well, if it wasn't working for them financially,
yeah.
they would give up on it after 6 months.
Yeah, or they'd actually do the research. Well, you know, like companies, there's like companies like, or like Google or something, where they're trying to like maximise like how good their workplaces are, and they've actually would have put a whole bunch of research. Like they weren't just like, oh, let's put a ping pong table in the lobby, that'd be fun. You know, like they think about like nutrition and shit like that, and you know, having campuses, like they would have had like, yeah, organisational psychologists and things come in and be like, make this the best fucking place to work, you know? I wonder if you're talking like maximum efficiency, 8 hours a day, are you saying 8 hours every day, or are you getting weekends off or something?
No, 8 hours every day.
Every day?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the question.
A lot of people work every day. Like people work in sweatshops will work like 11 hours a day, 12 hours a day, every single day.
You're saying statistically,
I'm saying a lot of those
most people work every day?
No, well, not statistically, most... Don't know, but a lot of people do. But you look at like... Yeah, wealthier, more developed countries don't work every day.
That's true.
So not that they get everything right, but I feel like people who can afford to not work 8 hours every day do so.
Yes.
So collectively, which isn't a great way to get truth, but it means there's not many people at all.
The thing is, why do they not work every day?
Because, well,
I know they have the ability to, but they choose.
they don't want to. So yeah, they don't want to work 8 hours a day. Because there's a lot of people who could, like, you work, you know, there's cafes and things that need people, you know, like you can work 8 hours Monday to Friday, and then you can work 8 hours on Saturday and Sunday, you know.
Yeah.
But like anyone who doesn't need to doesn't really do that, and so collectively, like, that's like a couple of billion people who choose not to work that much.
A couple of billion? I don't know, no. A billion is a big number.
Yeah. I think there's definitely a billion people who could work every single, maybe not could. It's weird because up until recently, like, people were like looking for work more. Whereas now, like, everyone, like, actually I don't know if it's like this in places other than Australia. Yeah, but there'd be a billion people in developed countries. It's not like there's only like a couple 100 million.
Would there?
America's got like 350 million itself.
Okay.
And then after Europe, there'd surely be a billion there. Not a billion, maybe in Europe, but after you account for Europe.
Sure.
And then not all those countries have like that developed once you get towards the east.
Well, there's only 26 million in Australia.
Yeah. And the UK is like 60, 70, 80?
You're asking me like I know.
Yeah. I don't know.
There's 67 million
In the
people
UK.
in the UK.
Yeah, okay. In the UK? Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, that was in 2020, so
Okay, yeah. There'll be a few less after
68 million, I don't know.
that. When you say 8 hours, do you mean 8 hours on the dot?
Yeah.
Like 8 hours in a second?
Oh, no. Let's take it as it is. It's 8 hours.
Okay. Cause
So
I'm.
if you do 7 hours and 59 minutes, that's 8 hours.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. What about 7 hours and 40 minutes?
Oh, what did it say?
So
If you do 7 hours and 1 second, that's 8 hours.
okay. I'd be fairly confident saying you need a day off every now and then
What do you need a day off for?
to rest, helps you burn out, especially if you're doing the same sorts of thing every day.
No, only if you're a Formula 1 driver.
Only then.
Yeah.
You need a rest day.
What? No, you're not going to burn out.
I'm directing films all day, every day.
All day, every day. You wanna
Not
know
all
why?
day, every day, but every day. You don't get a day off. You don't get Saturday and Sundays off. That's all you do is direct films.
Oh. I think I'd probably cap it at 6 hours a day.
Okay. Yeah, right. And that's what you'd like to do most. And you're thinking 6 hours a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because well, I'm basing that off sunlight. So
Okay.
half of them, half of me. But then, at a guess, I'd say a third of the shoots would be night. You'd think it would be halves, but
So you'd be able to do the 8 hours.
yeah, I'd be able to
Lots of
do
night
8 hours because some of
Yeah.
it's at night time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to 8 hours is kind of arbitrary. 8 hours is what, a third of the day. So I guess I could do 8 hours.
You could do 8 hours, but is it the best? Like, and when you talk about the best,
If I'm being honest, I wouldn't do more than 10.
10. Okay.
Like if we
Why not?
forget that it's a third of the day. Oh, because I'm just kind of thinking like, what would my limit be? Yeah, probably about 10 hours.
You're not actually having an official stance. You're just contradicting what I'm saying, aren't you? So you're not actually saying 8 hours is the best, are you?
I'm not. I'm just,
Not necessarily,
I'm
you're just saying
just going to
that-
go against whatever.
Me
you
saying,
say.
okay,
So,
all right. But then, so when you say the best, you've also, I think, best has got to account for like a variety of outcomes. So one of them might be like productivity, but another one would be like, why does everyone go and do that job? They do it, a lot of them just do it so they can afford to live, you know?
Yeah.
And if they keep working, and if they can do that with 40 hours a week, then if they work those extra 2 days and get that extra 16 hours in, there's less time for them to actually do the things they want to do, and they're spending more time working.
Yeah.
So that would like decrease that outcome of,
Ah.
I guess, like life satisfaction, because like that's part of the reason they're going to do it, is to sort of undermine part of the reason. You know, it's like they go to work so they can afford to live, but then like they're working every single day. Like they're never going on holiday, are they?
Less live time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah, I wonder if everyone did do that, do we even need that? Like, do we need 8 hours a day from everyone?
Oh, I see. So if everyone was working 8 hours a day, there'd be
Like, what would
less time to.
what would everyone be doing? Like,
Less time to consume.
yeah,
From
there
other
would
companies.
Yeah, there would be less time to consume things, and then everyone would be making
making more goods, services, everything. Yeah, I mean to start. Yeah, like when do people go and consume these?
So okay, so we would sell we'll sell less novelty buttons, but we'd sell more coffees.
So the best work pattern, I'd still say no. It's not the best work pattern because the best work pattern would be determined by the circumstances of the industry you work in and the company you work for.
Right. So you're saying no because it is. It's
Too blanket.
It's too vague.
It's too vague. Yeah, it's too blanket.
We're saying 8 hours per day rather than.
It's probably too many.
They're just figures. Like the one we did in December was is the outcome of meeting consumer demand the best pattern of work. Well, that is, whereas 8 hours a day that's a concrete figure that you can actually measure.
Well, so I'm gonna say no because I don't think we actually need people to work 8 hours a day. I don't think there'd be enough shit for everyone to do if the people were working 8 hours a day. Like, people just, like, sure, there might be a backlog of stuff to do, but like, you don't need every working person to contribute 56 hours a week. You don't need every person to contribute 56 hours a week of work to make society functional. And there's lots of things where it wouldn't really be like teaching or something. Like you don't always need. Okay, no, take that. That was a good example. But yeah, that would be my answer. I don't think society needs people to work 56 hours a week. Every person. I don't think there's enough stuff to do.
Is 8 hours per day the best pattern of work? According to Pizza String, 8 hours per day is not the best pattern of work.
Alright.
That was fascinating to say the least.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I felt like it only actually just came together in the last 10 minutes.